The desert highway shimmered like molten gold under the rising sun, stretching endlessly across the silent landscape. It was supposed to be one of those perfect Saturday rides, the kind that felt like freedom itself when the world fell away beneath the rumble of a motorcycle engine. But destiny has a habit of twisting even the calmest mornings into storms without warning, and on that lonely road where dust drifted like ghosts and the wind carried the scent of sunburnt sagebrush, a hardened biker's life changed forever in the split second. He saw a broken silhouette in the dirt, a young woman, bleeding, trembling, and fighting to breathe. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the power of unexpected moments to change a person's entire life, make sure to like this video, comment down below, share with others, and subscribe for more stories like this. He was known to many as a rough outlaw, a man who lived fast, on two wheels, and trusted no one. His vest carried colors that made most people step aside before he even looked in their direction. But beneath that leather, beneath the tattoos carved like memories across his skin, there was a heart he had long buried, swallowed by old wounds, regrets, and a past that had taught him survival but not tenderness yet. When he saw her, curled on the ground with her arms smeared in blood and her breathing shallow, something cracked open inside him. He skidded to a stop, boots kicking up dust, and for a moment he simply stared. This was not the kind of trouble he expected, not the kind he could ride away from. The world around them seemed to hold its breath as he knelt beside her, his shadow stretching over her like a shield against the unforgiving heat. The woman's eyes fluttered open, filled with pain but also of a strange calm, as though she had already accepted whatever fate awaited her. Her clothes were torn, her skin scraped and bruised, and she clutched her side as if holding herself together. There was no car nearby, no sign of anyone else, just the empty desert and the long ribbon of road she must have crawled along before collapsing. He could see fear in her face, but layered beneath it was desperation, and beneath that a quiet hope that someone, anyone, would stop. And against everything he had believed about himself, he became that person. The biker gently placed his hands on her shoulders, lifting her enough so she could rest against him, feeling her trembling as though her body was fighting to stay alive. In that moment, her life was no longer a stranger's problem. It had become a responsibility, stitched into the fabric of his heartbeat. He glanced around, still breathing hard from the shock of the scene. The sun was rising fast, the heat intensifying, and he knew she could survive long out here without help. But they were miles from the nearest town, and cell service was nearly non-existent. A choice weighed in his mind, heavy and urgent: leave his bike and try to carry her on foot, risk riding with her cradled against him on a machine not meant for two injured souls, or stay and chance waiting for another vehicle that might never come. The ghosts of his past mistakes, losses, people he couldn't save whispered through his head as he realized he couldn't lose another life, not today. So he did something he never imagined he'd do. He lifted her into his arms, carefully positioning her on the motorcycle, securing her with his vest wrapped around her torso, and prayed with every beat of his engine that she'd survive the rough ride back to civilization. Every bump in the road felt like a knife twisting into her wounds, and every winch she met cut deeper into him than any battle scar he carried. The ride was long and unforgiving, but he kept one hand steady on the handlebars and the other gently supporting her. The desert wind whipped around them, carrying the scent of heat and dust, but he barely noticed his entire world had narrowed to the fragile weight leaning against him. Something strange brewed in his chest, something he had forgotten he could feel: protectiveness, connection, the raw human instinct to keep someone safe. As the miles faded behind them, he silently begged her to hold on. When they reached a small desert town, he roared straight into the gravel lot of a rundown clinic, drawing wide-eyed stares from the locals, who knew exactly what kind of biker he was. He didn't care. He kicked down the stand, swept her into his arms, and stormed inside with the urgency of a man who'd found a purpose he didn't know he needed. The doctors rushed her away, leaving him standing in the waiting room with adrenaline still pounding through his veins. For the first time in years, he felt helpless. Hours felt like days as he sat, boots tapping against the floor, fingers clenched, heart hanging in the balance of someone he had known for less than an hour and yet had risked everything for. When the doctor finally stepped into the room, the biker braced himself, but the news was not what he had feared. She would live. She had suffered a fall from a runaway car that had rolled down an embankment. She had crawled for help until she couldn't move anymore. She had been strong long before he found her strong enough to fight alone, until fate placed him in her path Relief washed through him like a wave he never saw coming. He sat beside her bed later, watching her breathe peacefully, and felt something shift in him again. Maybe it was redemption, maybe it was a second chance, maybe it was the universe reminding him that no matter how rough a person's edges are, the heart still knows when it's needed. When she woke and saw him, her eyes softened with recognition, not fear, not weariness, but gratitude. The kind that reaches deeper than words. She didn't need to know his past, and he didn't need to explain it in that fragile silence, surrounded by the quiet hum of hospital machines and the fading light of a Saturday. That began with freedom but ended with purpose. The biker realized he had been given something rare, a moment that changed the direction of his life more sharply than any turn in the road ever could. If this story touched your heart in any way, please like the video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe for more stories that remind us of the good still left in the world before the ending. Comment below. Hope always finds a way. And just like that, what began as a beautiful Saturday ride became the beginning of an unexpected bond. A reminder that sometimes the most important journeys start not with a destination, but with a wounded stranger on the road and the courage to stop.